Good morning and welcome to Saturday special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. In this period of coronavirus, there is one issue which really amazed me, and I thought it better to discuss it with you. Why is a civilization that believes in reincarnation aping those civilizations that do not? Is it because of the impact of epidemic? Or is it that the belief in reincarnation is a hollow belief? And the heart of their heart, the believers know that they are barking up the wrong tree. This is a time when death is on everyone's mind throughout the world. It's extremely curious that we have not yet registered the death in the same way the Western civilization has. There's a lot of difference as far as the concept of death is concerned in the West and in Indian civilization. Or rather, Indian civilization stands alone in its own unique way of the understanding of death. And that I really appreciate that part, that death is not something to be feared. Death is a part of life. But yet the Indians are a terrified lot. Why? And then, we run helter-skelter, social distancing, taking precautions. Fine, that's good. But terrifying is not good. We as a nation are trying to ape a worldview which is not there in India at all. As a matter of fact, the worldview that we are adopting now is not an Indian worldview. And here I'm reminded of that mythical Yaksha Prash. You know Yaksha? He asked Yudhishthira, the protagonist of Mahabharata, about the greatest wonder of the world. And the answer Yudhishthira gave was, every day human beings die, and yet those who are living don't want to die. They want to live forever. They want to be immortal. I doubt there can be anything more pertinent today than pondering over this enigma and how Indian nation has responded now, not in the way Yudhishthira did. When an event like an epidemic, the present epidemic for example, in our lifetime, we get and experience systematic states that are entirely new and alien. We are exposed to those concepts, those ideas, which are systemic, but they are new. Just as a young person who had imagined that the things will always finds an old man who has experienced them in life to be stupid till he passes through those experiences himself. Every young man, a majority of them, 99.99%, believe that the old are idiots, they are fools. But when they pass through that experience, then they realize that it's not so. The survivor gets wiser. And this is the moment to dig deep into this ancient civilization, or the ancient wisdom of India's ancient civilization that has survived catastrophes. Epidemics, millions of people were killed by cholera, plague, so on, wars, foreign invasions, and much more. And the population was decimated when the population was not that large. If you read the history, you will find the mountains made of the skulls of the people killed in the wars. Dead bodies lying in the streets and nobody to remove them, still. So though it's akin to committing academic suicide in Indian institutes that sing the shlokas of the Western seers, who saw the job of intelligence to turn humanity into a market instead of society. That's a major difference. Indian civilization thought of the polity as a society. The Westerns thought of them as a market. And I'm times tempted to refer to the Gobar Shikt of theory of karma. I don't believe in that. And one of the strangest concepts ingrained in the karma theory is reincarnation. You do something wrong in this life, next time when you are born in another life, as another species, you will suffer the fate. Reincarnation that many young Indians trained in the Western science has imagined to be delusion. Maybe this is a delusion produced by drinking the urine of the cow. Death is an enemy. Let's not deny it. It's a concept that we grapple with philosophically and physically, both. And while science, especially evolutionary biology, and the need of making copies what life is as information, can really provide wonderful explanation for it. One really problem faces us. And that problem is created with the Western science. It's not dealing with this. How to live, each of us wants to know. Because then we have to die. Death is the end of all, so how to pass life? Do we have a hedonistic approach to life? Eat, drink and be merry, for tomorrow we die? Or do we think of doing, performing good, withdraw from the life, only remember the name of the God and the Creator, so that in the next life we live like kings? Now how stupid it is, you dream of a better life, and in that dream you sacrifice the present life. If there is any defining quality that separates Indian philosophy and the Western is, that the Indian philosophers never forgot that while working out more about our reality, each of us also has to live, and hence a part of the scientific quest in ancient India remained focused on offering a way of life, of handing over ever-changing kaleidoscope of science. That was the difference. But not now. Now we don't have that kaleidoscope of life. We live a humdrum life. It's some curious amalgam of absolutely disoriented but objective Western life, coupled with this veneer of reincarnation and karma. And then along with the deepest pure science quest into the nature of the universe, two concepts stand out: Advait and Dvait. These are the models of reality, and ancient India also applied science of living on this earth in the form of karma technology. That's a misnomer. Karma theory is different than karma technology is. And as it is always the power of thought in both the civilizations, karma technology gave birth to a unique civilization. And I am proud of that I will inherit that civilization which people ignore. I don't believe in the karma. I do not believe in reincarnation. But I believe what those Indians saw, their life to be a part of eternally flowing river with no real death experience by those who understand the immortality of soul. Take away the immortality of soul, take away the reincarnation, take life as an eternally flowing river. That's it. As long as you are alive, you are a part of that river. More than that you need not think. You need not bother about. What is sufficient is that we are living our life as a part of change. River is always flowing, it's never stopping. And that is what's more important. As a matter of fact, each one of us is expected to use free will to find a way to merge with the flow completely and reach the state of perfect harmony with the universal flow. You don't have to look at death as a problem to solve. Take death as it comes. It's a part of the flow. So that is the real Indian philosophy. And that we sacrifice the karmic theory. And in the confusion created by trying to synthesize the Western concept of market and the Indian concept of society. From Ayurveda to the four ashrams of life is the Indian understanding of death, rather than life that has driven us to live differently. We have always been thinking of death, not of life. And that is something curious. We talk great flow of life, change, but then we are thinking, tomorrow we are dying, so what? Why do it? Why do it? So that concept of divorcing our thoughts from living to be in tune with death makes us live differently. But then the Western thoughts came and turned us into humans. Rather, they turned us from being humans into consumers that constantly needed problems to be solved. So that is curious. We were living life like Yakshpaksha and Yudhishthira's response to it. We left that to become just the consumers, eat, drink. I'm saying we started living at the animal level. And yet, forsaking our civilization and our Advaita and the Vaita concepts, we merged into the flow, which is neither here nor there. So from a river, we jumped into a pond. And the pond, that was stinking. Couple of thousand years from that point, I see a lonely old man of the same culture, with tears in the eyes. When some humans act like inhumans and bring him a birthday cake, while he is stuck in the same nation. And I'm forced to think, what is the idea of death, and more importantly, what could be the idea of a universe, life a universe, where it coexists with death? And that thought came to me at my birthday. Why do we think of death at all, instead of taking it as something which is going to happen, which is a normal course of life? Why is it that we cannot get out of the obsession with death and take death as a part of living? So that's the beauty of a river. Death is not something superimposed, it's going to be a part of the flow. And that is what the real Indian philosophy is. Not that you are going to suffer for your karma in this life. What you are doing wrong, you will suffer possibly here only. Every action has an equal and opposite action. But it's not going to happen after 7 generations. No. Why is my concern that a wise race like Indians, which understood that differently, is trying to copy West, that is about nothing but disharmony, by imagining problems and trying to solve them by creating more problems. The Western concept has never solved a problem. They have created more problems. Antibiotics, and then the immunity for antibiotics. Antibiotics, medication, and other side effects which are worse than the original disease itself. And things go on and on and on. But what has always amazed me, that we people have bidden goodbye to the old concepts. When the real karmic theory was talked about, it was not about the retribution given by some god in the next world. No. It was the vibrations created by your actions that impacts you and the society. It was like a stone thrown in the river. The ripples would be there, But ultimately, waves when they come will wash over those ripples. So that is what life was. Life was not something to be eternally dripping and trembling at the thought of impending death. It was that if it comes, I'm ready for it. And I don't have to care. And that solves most of the problems of the world. So, a civilization which believes in reincarnation has no fear of death. And yet, when I go to the hospitals, when I meet people covering, afraid, trembling with fear, I feel they are not Indian, but they are a mishmash of veneer of Indian philosophy with all the fears of the Western thought. And they are poor people caught in the middle, in the vortex of that combination of the two, and don't know whether they are dying or living, and they are not living at all. They are dying every moment till the release comes. For them, death is a release from life, not something to be afraid of. But then they are afraid of everything. It becomes a big bugbear for them. So this merger of civilization has created this void in the thinking and action. Think about it. You would feel better that death is something just to be taken as an ordinary course of life, rather than eternally being trembling at the thought of it. And believe me, Indian philosophy makes you a human being rather than being a producer or a consumer or a partner in the market of the world. A commodity. You are not a commodity. You are a human being. Thank you.